First of all, your music is creepy and annoying. Secondly, evolution occurs mainly through random mutation and natural selection. One without the other will not produce changes over time. No experiment you perform in your home, excluding the use of computer simulations, can accurately depict the action of mutation and natural selection. No, evolution is the change in allelic frequency over time. This is due to random mutation, which you continue to ignore over the entire course of your video. Yes, and? Actually, no. It's quite the opposite. Natural selection is how random mutations permeate the genome, because mutations that are beneficial to the organism enable it to more effectively feed, mate, and avoid predators. Others that can't do any of the above as effectively are removed by natural selection. Making the assumption that anyone claims that natural selection is the only evidence of evolution is themselves showing a poor understanding of evolution. No, they aren't. Yeah, kinda demonstrates natural selection. The problem is that it neglects to factor in random mutation. Buttons, in case you weren't already aware, don't reproduce, and therefore can't mutate. But more on this in a moment. This is true, because buttons don't have sex, don't reproduce, and don't mutate. Animals do. This is why you are not an exact copy of your parents. Your genome is a slightly mutated copy of a combination of your parents' genes. This is not the case with mass-produced buttons. What you would see at the end would be a small pile of buttons identical to the ones you put through the initial mesh screen. You saw each and every one of the final piles as you were putting them through the mesh in the beginning. There is no recombination, as the buttons never changed as they went through the mesh. Actually, no. We do not possess the genes for producing bark, leaves, or a cell wall, yet your video claims that this is the case. Evolution predicts that we cannot produce any of these because they aren't part of our genome. The new information was added as animals and plants split into different branches on the evolutionary tree. Atavisms, on the other hand, are when dormant genes become active, producing features that were not present in either parent. This is why birds are occasionally born with teeth, humans with tails, and whales and snakes with rudimentary legs. Do you know why this is? Because they evolved from a common ancestor through mutation and natural selection. Only sometimes, actually. Perhaps you should try taking a cursory glance through the Wikipedia article on antibiotic resistance. Those that survived produced more bacteria that had the resistance to the antibiotics. Those that didn't possess the resistance died. This is what natural selection does. It is evolution because had none of the bacteria mutated to resist antibiotics in the first place, they all would have died. They evolved to resist the drugs. Another case where one can't help but notice the mutation at work is in the production of nylon A's. Again, nylon A's. You're ignoring the time scale involved in evolution as well. And indeed, new genetic information is added or altered when mutations occur. Take, for example, Down syndrome. A third copy of chromosome 21 is produced. More information. Hello? It doesn't have to be different information to produce a change, as is evident with Down syndrome. As for genetic information being altered, we know exactly where the chromosomes fuse the ancestor we share with chimpanzees, producing the mutation that led to our development. No new information, but a totally different genus of ape began to evolve. Humans. Most importantly, you don't need new genes for evolution to occur. Over long periods of time, it definitely accounts for massive changes in a population, but simple allelic changes combined with natural selection is evolution. What follows is another time-consuming and irrelevant bit about peppered moths, so I'm going to skip most of it. What CreationistsWON is trying to say is that because there were no new variations of the peppered moths, they didn't evolve. And they didn't. The observation was a demonstration of natural selection, not evolution. It was a successful one. Again, evolution doesn't occur without mutation. Why you're ignoring this, I can't possibly imagine. Hold it. No, I'm not enduring another one of these irrelevant examples. Newspapers don't mutate because they don't reproduce. Skipping this. That's because copying newspapers produces exact copies. Reproduction does not. Each new generation has different genes from the previous one. This would be like each new copy of the newspaper having slightly different text on it, sometimes more, sometimes less. Over many generations of natural selection, an analogy to this that includes newspapers is beyond me, you would start to have entirely different pages of text. So this is why I've been ignoring mutations. You think that for new information to emerge, it has to come all at once. This is equivalent to a chimpanzee giving birth to a human. Evolution doesn't work that way. I'll have to explain why all over again. Natural selection causes allelic frequency to change in populations. The changes in the alleles themselves are produced through gradual mutation. Do you even understand the implications of your reasoning? By the examples you've brought up so far, you believe that every gene existent in the world was existent at the beginning. That would also imply, from your lack of acknowledgement, that every creature existent today was existent 6,000 years ago. Think about that one for a while. Natural selection alone will not produce evolution. Once again, random mutation and natural selection produce evolution. Together, they have been observed doing so several times. Case in point, and no, I'm not bringing up nylon A's again. Italian wall lizards. Look it up.